microphones later on when I take some questions from the audience. Yeah, later on. But for now, I am trusting the interpreter to help you to understand what I have to say. Could I have my slides, please? Great, thank you. So today I am going to try to explain what we do at SENS Research Foundation and what we are also doing at Ajax Therapeutics and what other people are doing at many other companies. Because this is an incredibly exciting time for this field. We are really close now to the point where we can bring aging under medical control. Now, I have been to Moscow many times before, and I have talked about this field, of course, but when I have been here in the past, I could not be nearly so optimistic. I could say many things about what will happen in the future, but it was still the distant future. Now we are getting closer. We are really getting closer to making this happen. I really believe that most of the people in this room today will never suffer from the health problems of late life that we see in so many people right now. I really believe that. But still, some of you will. And therefore, the priority that we have today is to make these therapies happen as soon as we possibly can. We have to always remember that aging kills 100,000 people every day. That is more than 2/3 of all deaths worldwide. I mean, it's by far the biggest problem in the world. We often think to ourselves, well, HIV is a really big problem. And sure, it is a really big problem. Malaria is a really big problem. Both of those things kill thousands of people every day, millions of people every year. But nothing kills 100,000 people a day except aging. So we absolutely need to remember that aging is the #1 problem. And the reason that I'm here today, and the reason SENS Research Foundation is here today, is because not only do we know that this is the #1 problem, we also know how we should be able to solve it. It's a very difficult problem to solve, that's for sure, but it's a problem that we can solve. We just don't know how soon we can solve it, but we do know that the harder we try, the sooner it will happen. And that means that we need people's support from the whole world. Now in Russia, there is a lot of support for this. Every time I come here, I get enormous feedback, enormous support for this work, and I love coming here for that. I hate the traffic, but I love the people, right? And that's why. Okay, here goes. So, I'm a technologist. I started my life as a computer scientist. I was working on artificial intelligence back in the 1980s. And I did that because I felt that we really need to help people to enjoy their lives. And at the moment, most people have to spend most of their waking hours doing things that they would not do unless they were being paid for it. They have to work. That's ridiculous. We should have machines to do things that people don't want to do, and then we can do the things that we do want to do, to enrich each other's lives, things like that. But eventually I found out that hardly anybody was working on aging. And so I started to work on it. And I started to work on it like a technologist. Somebody who is not only interested in finding things out. I'm interested in finding out the things that are useful. In other words, I'm interested in using what we know for humanitarian benefit. So, this is what I'm showing you, this question that I'm showing you on this slide, was the first step in all of that. I said, well, okay, why do we have an aging problem right now? 200 years ago, people started to figure out how to keep people from dying early in life, in infancy or in childbirth. And they did it really well. We figured out, hygiene is a really good idea. And vaccines, antibiotics, really simple medicine, they really worked. So like 200 years ago, even in the wealthiest countries in the whole world, we would have maybe more than 1/3 of babies dying before the age of 1. And they would die from, tuberculosis or diphtheria, that kind of thing. So, we don't have that anymore. Even in the relatively developing countries, the amount of deaths from things like that is really low compared to what it used to be. And we did it really easily. So it's a really important question, why the health problems that we see in late life have not been able to be eliminated by medicine. People don't, it's an obvious question, so perhaps it's so obvious that people don't ask it enough, but it is the important question. Now, most people think they know the answer to that question. They think it's this I'm showing you here. So, don't worry, you're not supposed to be able to read this slide, right? This is simply to show you that there are so many things that go wrong with people late in life. And they go wrong at more or less the same time, which means, of course, that they interact with each other, they exacerbate each other. So most people think that it's just the complexity, that there are so many things going wrong with people late in life that, medicine has just not been able to bring it under control. There are just too many things to tackle at the same time. And for sure that is part of the answer, but it's only part of the answer. There's actually a bigger part, which I need to explain to you. And I'm going to start by telling you what aging is. Now, think about that. Why do I need to tell you what aging is? It's crazy that I would need to tell you that, because aging has been a huge preoccupation of humanity since the beginning of civilization. But still, if you ask 10 people for a definition of aging, you'll get at least 8 different answers. It's insane. We haven't decided what aging is. So, here's my definition of aging. And I have 2 reasons for giving you this particular definition. The first reason is we need some definition so that I can spend the rest of my time here, so that we're on the same page and you understand what I'm saying when I use the word aging. But the other reason I'm using this definition is it's a really good definition. It's a definition that demystifies aging. It helps you to see that aging is not some kind of enigma, some kind of thing we badly don't understand. We really do understand aging well. Alright, so, let's look at this. What am I actually saying here? What I'm saying here is simply that aging is the combination of 2 processes. left-hand one and the right-hand one. On the left, we have a process that goes on throughout life where metabolism creates damage. So that means simply metabolism is the entire network of processes that keep us alive from one day to the next. Really complicated, keeps us alive. That process generates changes to the molecular and cellular structure of the body, the composition of the body. And those changes are progressive. They accumulate over time. Now, the body is set up to tolerate that, up to a point, to tolerate a certain amount of that change. And that is why people who are in their 40s or 50s, like me, are pretty much as functional as people in their 20s. Nothing has really gone wrong yet for most people at that age. But the reason why it is appropriate to call these changes damage is because eventually they accumulate to a point that the body is not set up to tolerate. Eventually, the body starts to really notice this damage and it works less well. And less well over time, the pathologies, the progressive, chronic pathologies of old age start to emerge and they get worse and worse and eventually they kill you. That's the right-hand process. So that's all that aging is, the combination of those two processes. Throughout life, metabolism creates damage, and late in life, damage creates pathology. That's all you need to know about what aging is. So, what do we do about it? Well, of course, the goal is to separate metabolism from pathology. What we would like is that we could live. Obviously, that means metabolism is operating. We're not asleep, we're not hibernating. We are living our lives, but we are not getting sick. So we want to separate metabolism from pathology. Now, one way that we might do that is to separate damage from pathology. And that's what I'm calling geriatrics. And that's what most people try to do. You know, most of the money that is spent at the moment trying to keep people healthy late in life is by that kind of thing. And it's obviously hopeless. I mean, just look at the picture. You only need this simple picture to see that geriatrics is hopeless. Because damage is continuing to accumulate. And therefore, any medicine that tries to stop damage from creating pathology is bound to get progressively less effective as time goes on, as the damage accumulates more and more. It's so obvious. So we must ask ourselves, why has humanity been so reluctant to give up on this? Hello? Hello? There we go. And this, I believe, is the answer. The reason why humanity has made this mistake and has stuck with this mistake for so long is because humanity has failed to understand what aging is. I just gave you a really simple definition of aging. But if you look at this, you will see that it does not agree with that definition. What I'm showing you here on this table is a taxonomy of sickness. In other words, the answer that most people would give if you ask them, in what ways can people be sick? All right? You ask people that question, they'll say, well, okay, there's infection. That's column 1. These are an important aspect of sickness. Then there are genetic diseases that a small number of people inherit from their parents. That's column 2. And then there's the big one, the diseases of old age, the chronic progressive diseases like Alzheimer's, and almost all cancers, atherosclerosis, osteoporosis, and so on. And then most people would say that there is this fourth category that's completely different. It's way out of the stratosphere, and it's called aging itself. No, real aging. And it's not really very well defined. It consists of things like frailty, all right? But the thing is, people think of it as so completely different from diseases that they think it's almost off limits for medicine, that there's no way, even in principle, that we would be able to develop medicines that could actually prevent it. And that's not a very good thing to be thinking if you want to actually develop such medicine. So this is a huge problem. And the thing is, it's wrong. Here, I'm showing you a different version of that same table, which is the corrected version. And if you look very closely, you will see that all the columns are exactly the same as they were on the previous slide. The only thing that is different is the position of that big, thick black line. And that is critical, because that is something I've told you already, that the so-called diseases of old age, column 3, should not be likely to be eliminated by the same kind of medicine that works for column 1, for infections. As I mentioned, we've been really successful with column 1. People hardly ever die of infections anymore early in life, at least in the industrialized world. But column 3, you know, it hasn't worked. This is why. Column 3 is completely different from column 1. But there is a second thing that I am telling you by moving that black line. This is an even more important thing. The other thing is that there is no difference, absolutely no difference, between column 3 and column 4. From, semantically there's a difference. That, like, column 3 consists of the aspects of aging that we have chosen to give disease-like names to. That's all. It's just terminology. Column 3 and column 4 are both aspects of aging. So a lot of people like to say that I think that aging should be considered as a disease. But that's nonsense. I don't think that at all. I think that that means that the word disease should be broadened in its definition to include aging. I think that the opposite thing should happen. I think that the definition of the word disease should be narrowed so that it does not include column 3. It does not include these so-called diseases of old age. All right, now, I'm not the first person to be thinking this way. In fact, more than 100 years ago, a few smart biologists, including some Russians, came up with the idea that, yeah, geriatric medicine just isn't going to work because of exactly the reasons I've already told you. So they said, well, let's be more preventative. Let us try to slow down the creation of damage. And this was a sensible idea back then, because it was inspired by nature. What we see in nature is that different species have very different rates of aging, right? You know, very different. Even within a species, different individuals have slightly different rates of aging, rates of accumulation and damage. So now, maybe we could understand that. If we understood that really well, then maybe we could translate that understanding into some kind of therapy that would essentially make the human body run more cleanly, make it create damage at a slower rate than it normally does. And that would be wonderful, right? Because it would mean that it would delay the age at which the damage reaches the point that causes the right-hand process. In other words, the point where you start to get sick. Wonderful. But there are a couple of problems with that idea. The first problem is you'd better start early. Like, you know, I'm 56 and I'm really healthy, but the fact is I'm still 56, which means that I have been accumulating damage in my body for 56 years. So that means that I've already got most of the damage that would be necessary to make me sick, to get me to exhibit the pathologies of late life. And even if today I were able to take some therapy that would slow down, maybe even slow down by a factor of 2, the rate at which I accumulate more damage, that's still not going to gain me very many years in terms of how soon I get sick. The only way you're going to gain a lot of years is if you start really early in life. That's a problem. But there's actually an even deeper problem, an even more profound one. And that's very simple to describe. Here we are. Metabolism is ridiculously complicated. If there's anyone here in the audience who writes software, right, then you can look at this and you can immediately see the problem. Right, good, yeah, study of software engineers in the audience. The problem is obvious. This is the ultimate nightmare of uncommented spaghetti code, right? There is no way in hell that we're ever going to be able to tweak this system so that it does not do the thing we don't want it to do, the creation of damage, without at the same time having unintended consequences. You know, stopping it from doing things that we need it to do to keep us alive. It's just not going to happen. And of course that's a really big understatement of the problem, because all I'm showing you here is a small subset of what we know about how the body works. And like, even if I had the whole of what we know about the body works, that would still be an understatement, because it excludes all the enormous astronomical amount that we don't know about how the body works. And I mean, that's even ignoring all the stuff that we don't even know that we don't know, right? It's hopeless, never going to work. And by the 1970s or 80s, people who studied the biology of aging had realized what I've just told you. They'd pretty much given up. Gerontology was no longer a medical discipline. It had become a research area where we just wanted to understand it. It was a bit like seismology, the study of earthquakes. You know, people who study earthquakes, they understand that earthquakes are bad for you. But, excuse me, but they really don't think they can do anything about them, right? They just say, you know, get out of the way. We'll try to help you to know when they're going to happen. We're not going to stop them from happening. And that's, you know, not good. So, 20 years ago almost, I came up with a completely new approach. And this approach has now become very mainstream, but it was very heretical originally. People really didn't think it made sense. So, it can be explained by using the same diagram that I've been using all the time. We've seen the geriatric medicine, which says, let's break the link between damage and pathology. It just can't work. It just cannot work. And we've also seen that gerontology, which breaks the link between metabolism and damage, also cannot work. But remember, what we're trying to do is to break the link between metabolism and pathology. And there is a third way in which we can approach that, which is this thing I'm calling the maintenance approach. All that is it says, let's not try to break either of the component processes, but instead, let us separate those two processes from each other. So the maintenance approach is a damage repair approach. It says, okay, damage is going to happen. Metabolism is going to create damage. But if we go in and we repair that damage, then we may be able to stop it from reaching the level of abundance that is bad for us, that causes pathology. And we don't even need to repair it thoroughly. If we can just repair it reasonably well, that'll be good enough. So that's what I've been promoting and pursuing over the past 20 years. Now, the thing is, it's a common sense approach. You know, back here you see I call it a common sense alternative. You may think that's a bit arrogant, as if to say that other people were, you know, just being dumb in not thinking of this before. And well, maybe that is what I'm saying. But the fact is, I think I'm justified in saying it's a common sense approach because it already works. This car here that I'm showing you is more than 100 years old. And it's doing fine. It's working just as well as when it was built, as the day it came off the production line. So we have to ask ourselves, why is that? And the answer is not that it was designed to last 100 years. In fact, it was probably designed to last no more than 10 or 15 years at the outside. So this is crazy. This car has completely transcended its warranty period. How? Perfectly simple. It has simply benefited from periodic, comprehensive, preventative maintenance. It has owners that fell in love with it, and they have looked after it better than most people look after their cars. Also, I don't think it had to suffer Moscow winter. So, you know, this is basically why these cars are surviving. And if it can be done with cars, it should also be possible for the human body. Now, there's just one small step, one small piece of my logic that I have not yet been able to justify. And I'm going to highlight it now. What I've shown you is that aging is not something that is some weird, you know, emergent phenomenon of living organisms. It's not like, you know, consciousness. Aging is just the same thing in the human body as what it is in a car or an aeroplane or any other normal man-made machine. And therefore, periodic, comprehensive, preventative maintenance has the capacity, the potential to keep the human body going in full function, both mental and physical, for as long as we like. We just have to figure out how to do that maintenance. But then the question has to come, how hard is it to develop this damage repair approach? And you may initially be thinking, well, it doesn't look too good. Because let's be clear, metabolism, the cause of damage, is incredibly complicated. And pathology, the consequence of damage, is also incredibly complicated. So it stands to reason that maybe the damage itself is also incredibly complicated. And if that were true, we'd be in trouble. Because yes, this damage repair idea would still be the common sense one, but it would be impractical. So we would still have nowhere to go. It turns out though that that's not the case. That actually, even though damage is more complicated than it is in a car or an aeroplane, it's still manageable. And the big step forward, the big thing that allowed me to be so optimistic about this and to start promoting this approach 20 years ago, is that we can classify damage in a very manageable way. By which I mean, there may be hundreds or even thousands of types of damage, but they can all be categorized into a very manageable number of classes that I'm showing you here, just 7 classes. As you can see on the left-hand side, that's the definition of the categories of damage. These are real biological phenomena. So cell loss, what's that? It's simply cells dying and not being automatically replaced by the division of other cells, right? It's a very simple idea. Simply, if they're not being replaced, then the number of cells in the affected tissue will decline, will go down and down and down, and eventually the tissue will not have enough cells to do its job. And there are quite a few aspects of aging that are driven by that type of damage. One good example would be Parkinson's disease, which is caused by the death and non-replacement of a particular type of neuron in a particular part of the brain, called the substantia nigra. So we all know, you all know how to fix that in principle. What we do is stem cell therapy. We prepare cells in the laboratory into a state where they know what to do, where they can divide and transfer